Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Mirror Dungeon solo video. Today we're using the brand new Lamp Gregor, because he's the, in my opinion, he's the cooler of the two identities. I mean, of course he is. He's literally the fan service identity of the Canto right now, if I'm being completely honest. But anyways, aside from how cool it is to finally have Big Bird in the game, the bigger question is, what exactly does Lamp Gregor even do? And, well, it's quite interesting, actually, because he's kind of a sinking identity, because his entire thing revolves around sinking, right? Like, he has his unique status effect of Lamp, which is effectively a type of charge, kind of, which he builds up over time by just, like, playing into his passive, but if he uses his defense skill, it instantly reaches the max level, and once it is at max stacks, then he applies the Dazzle status effect onto a random enemy with the most health. And this Dazzle status effect, it makes people take more damage if they have a lot of burn and sinking on them. And it gives them like a few debuffs if they have sanity, and you know, it's one of the typical panic type effects, right? It's one of those. But even more than that, it's like, if Gregor is specifically attacking an enemy with the Dazzle status effect, he gets a massive damage boost, especially if it's with his skill 3. Like, all of his skills technically get it because, like, they give him like extra coin power and stuff for having it. But his skill 3 specifically, it allows its final coin to get a massive damage boost, and just it does a ridiculous amount of damage, if I'm being completely honest. And more importantly than that, but like Dazzle, like most of the other panic type effects, it has a max stack of 3, and it goes down over time, right? But like specifically, if Gregor is attacking with his skill 3 while it is at the max stack of 3, then he also gets a plus coin boost the following turn. Which, you know, this isn't Gregor's only identity to get a plus coin power boost. He also has, you know, Linton Gregor, who's also a singing identity. And the main difference between the two of them is the fact that Linton Gregor can gain... There is no limit to how much plus coin power he can gain from his skill 3, right? But the main difference between the two of them is the fact that Lamp Gregor actually has a skill that can benefit from this plus coin boost. Like, for Linton Gregor, right, he only has... His skill 2 is only 2 coins, right? But Lamp, his skill 2 is 4 coins, which automatically that's just, like, effectively 2 extra power to his skill just by having a few extra coins, right? So obviously it's like, if you're using him in a full team, the plus coin boost is substantially more effective. Other than that, though, that's just how he plays normally, right? You use his defense skill to apply Dazzle onto an enemy, and then he gets a massive damage boost with his skill 3, and that's effectively how you want to play him most of the time, right? So it's basically like you use his defense skill, you use his skill 3, you get a plus coin power boost, and then you follow up with a skill 2 to take advantage of that plus coin power boost. And that's effectively the best way to play him. However, that's not the only thing that's unique about him, because he also has 2 other specific things going on, right? The first is the fact that he is the current only identity in the game who gains absolutely no speed at all. His speed literally cannot be manipulated by anything other than bind, I guess. But it's very interesting because, like, because of that, it's like if he ever gains haste, he gains like a single clash power instead, which is very, very cool. Very cool. And just like the other identity who kind of has a very low speed of Zwei Ishmael, he also has the effect of being able to kind of ignore speed tiers, as in he can clash against any skill no matter what, right? Which is very good. It's very good for a slow identity to have that. In fact, it's basically kind of necessary for them to be usable, in my opinion. It's why characters like, you know, Base Merceau is kind of useless, because their speed is too low and they can't clash or redirect anything, really, so they can't take advantage of their incredible defenses, basically. So this new effect of being able to redirect any target, no matter what, it's something that's very necessary for slow identities, I say. I'll continue this thought in the next floor. We head into emotional repression for the next floor, where we find the blue star shard, the manor-shaped music box, Helterfly's dream, the pendant of nostalgia, phlebotomy pack, skeletal crumbs, emerald elytra, devil's share, and the ornamental horseshoe, before making it to the boss against the talisman doll. And the second thing that is pretty important to talk about is the fact that, like, Gregor also has a tiny bit of support in his kit as well, because whenever he activates his passive, he applies the Guardians of the Forest status effect to the ally who is the earliest deployment. So, you know, the first one you select, who isn't himself, basically. And effectively, what this does is, it's very simple, right? For plus coin identities, it heals their sanity and gives them a few offense level if they're at max sanity instead. But more importantly, is the fact that if they're a minus coin identity, it makes them automatically lose sanity. And this is very, 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 very important, because it buffs Potential Man, aka Sunshower Heathcliff, and makes him actually somewhat usable now, in my opinion. Because one of the biggest problems with Sunshower Heathcliff, right, is the fact that he struggles to stay at low sanity. Because the only way he can lose sanity is if he has sinking on himself, right? But he struggles to maintain sinking on himself because the only way he actually has to really gain sinking is through his skill 3, and because it's a skill 3, he just doesn't have very much of it. But with Guardians of the Forest, it's like he has a way to just constantly lose sanity every single turn, no matter what, which is very good. It's nice. It's nice that Sunshower Heathcliff got an indirect buff by this new identity. Very nice. I do like that a lot. We get into the Noon of Violet for the next floor, where we find Red Order, Decamillennial Hearthflame, the Mental Corruption Boosting Gas, Leaked Encaphalon, Hardship, Sticky Muck, Midwinter Nightmare, Punctured Memory, and the Nebulizer, before making it to the boss. Obviously, gotta do the Lobotomy Corporation floor with the Lobotomy Ego Gear identity, who's also technically an employee, so it's like kind of canon, in my opinion. I mean, not really, because Hohenheim never was part of the main facility, right? That's why he was able to survive anyways. Otherwise, he'd be stuck in the library. But anyways, what do I want to talk about here? I don't know. He's just really strong. I mean, obviously, like, his biggest problem is he's really slow, and the problem with slow identities is that it's kind of hard to tell how strong they are when you're actually using them in a team, because since they're slow, it makes them always act last, right? And if you're acting last, that means you automatically just can't attack before everybody else attacks. And so if you're using a lot of strong identities with him, they're probably going to end up doing most of the damage before, you know, Gregor can do anything himself. But that doesn't mean he isn't powerful in his own right. It just means that he's slow, really. I mean, we don't really have that many buffs right now. I mean, we do have quite a bit, like puncture memory and everything, but even beside that point, it's like he's still capable of, like, one-shotting most of these guys, and a lot of that is due to how powerful his skill 3 is. Like, honestly, I'd say he's one of the identities who does actually like to have multiple skill slots. Like, if you can give him 2 skill slots in a fight, he really, really likes it, because I guess it isn't that necessary in actual boss fights, right? Since the dazzle status effect is kind of a permanent thing. He doesn't ever, like, consume it, so he constantly gains the benefit from having it on the enemies, no matter what. So he doesn't really need a second skill slot, I guess, but it's nice to have it, since he can continuously cycle the dazzle and keep it at max stacks, and then if it's at max stack, he just does more damage, basically. especially if you get more skill 3s. Like, his skill 3 is really strong. I'm not even kidding.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 웃겨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지.
We get into Hatred and Despair for the next floor, where we find the Knight's Blessing, Angel's Cut, the Unchosen, and the Dueling Manual Book 3, before making it to the boss against the Knight of Despair. What was I talking about? Yeah, it's like, he doesn't need multiple skill slots. Also, hi, Queenie. He doesn't need multiple skill slots. But giving him a second one is just very nice because it means that it's more likely for him to get his skill 3. And if he gets his skill 3 more often, then he just does a lot more damage. And, like, who doesn't like damage, am I right? I'm kind of talking in circles here a little bit, but... he just really is a very strong identity. I wouldn't really say he's that powerful in sinking, though, to be honest. Like, he's usable in sinking, don't get me wrong. His skill 3 is count neutral, but his skill 2 and skill 1 are both count negative, so it's like... he can't support sinking on his own. He definitely needs some kind of support outside of it, but sinking is pretty easy to build up. I mean, you got Knight of Despair Rhodia, who also buffs him a little bit because, you know, she's wearing ego gear. But she's also got, like, a lot of extra sinking count in her kit, and then you've also got, you know, what's it called? Rhyme Shake as well. So, like, just her alone is enough to support him. And then you could also pair it with, well, his burn is a lot better because, well, he doesn't really support burn very much, you know? He's got enough burn to be able to support it on his own, but it's like burn is the easiest to stack up, so that's not really saying much, to be honest. You give an identity at least 2 burn count in their kit and they can support burn. It's not that special if an identity can support burn. But it's good that he has burn because it means that he's actually synergistic with the Art of Blossom Faust, right? And that's very cool because it means that, you know, Hohenheim is with Alyssa and the other guy who I don't remember his name. Yisong Lantern, who they have absolutely no synergy with him because he's Rupture. I don't know if this identity has unique voice lines when paired with them. I assume he does, you know. It would be kind of surprising if he doesn't have, like, something that he says when you use him with Lantern Yisong. Especially because in canon universe, Yisong is dead at that point, so... But just like with Wu Yisong, how he has a unique voice line when paired with, you know, Gia Ishmael. I assume Lamp Gregor has a unique voice line when paired with Lantern Yisong. We head into Sunk Gloom for the next floor, where we find the 4-leaf clover, Eclipse of Scarlet Moths, Rags, Distant Star, Greycoat, and the cigarette holder, before making it to the boss against Not Heathcliff and Friends. Honestly, the best thing about how Gregor inflicts Dazzle is the fact that it's kind of guaranteed that it will always go to the boss in fights like this, since it always applies to the character with the most health. But the biggest weakness he has in solos, in my opinion, is the fact that, like, since he's so slow, right, it means that you can't actually target his defense skill at all as to who it clashes into, since it will always automatically clash into the fastest enemy since you're so slow. It's not really that big of a deal if you can actually play around it, but sometimes I just forget that this identity is effectively locked to one speed the entire time. It's pretty fitting thematically, like, honestly, my favorite part about this identity is just how much it feels like you're actually playing Big Bird. Like, he does feel like he is Big Bird, you know? He has minimum speed, he dazzles an enemy, waits for them to come to him, and then he insta-kills them with a very powerful skill 3. That's basically exactly how Big Bird works. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I like the Ego Gear identity so much. Because they're just so much more unique in how they play. Since it's like you can do so much unique things with them since they're based off of an abnormality. And then it's like, don't get me wrong, like Pinky Sinclair is pretty good, but he's kind of boring if I'm being completely honest. He just does damage and hits hard and has attack weight and stuff, but then it's like you got Big Bird Gregor with his dazzle and his insta-kill attack. It's way more thematic and way more cool. We head into the LCB regular checkup for the next floor, where we find the reignition plug, embers, and the combustion gloves before making it to the boss against Hohenheim. Obviously, you gotta fight Hohenheim with the Hohenheim identity. That's a given. Which is pretty lucky that this identity has a gloom skill so they can have Grey Coat, because otherwise this fight would... I wouldn't say it's that hard, to be honest, since we don't have Lunar Memory yet, but... it would be kind of awkward without it. I mean, one of the big things about Hohenheim is that if you don't have a lot of healing, the best way to beat him is if you have, like, you know, passive damage, like burn or rupture or even sinking with butterfly, with the butterfly status effect. And we have both burn and butterfly, so it's like, even if we didn't have Grey Coat or some form of healing, I wouldn't really expect this fight to be that much more difficult. We'd probably have to use, you know, Gregor's Lantern Ego skill a little bit, or some... I think that's the only one of his that can actually heal him. At least the ones that I'm running right now. But yeah, we might have to use that a little bit if we didn't have Grey Coat, but otherwise, it's like this fight would have been pretty much the same. Hohenheim's kind of a pushover. He's only really threatening because of his reflect damage. And so, yeah, if you have some way to circumvent that through passive damage, then he just doesn't really do anything, to be honest. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could just spam the defense skill, like, for the rest of the fight and just let the burn tick down. I mean, it would take like 20 turns, but it would work. Anyway, that's Hohenheim. We head into poised breathing for the next floor, where we find the operation authorization card and clear mirror calm water before making it to the boss against the Pequod trio. Honestly, with clear mirror calm water now, most fights aren't really an issue, and this one is no exception. With a pierce resistance and a ton of damage thanks to clear mirror, our already almost insta-kill attack is going to absolutely just obliterate everything. And it's like I do keep making the same misplay of like not clashing against the leftmost skill slot of an enemy, so they do keep attacking me because of the low speed. I mean, this one here against Queequeg, it's like that one's obvious. Like you don't want to clash against the single coin skill because it just does no damage. But for Starbuck, it's like I should have clashed against his first skill. Not that it really matters because we have Greycoat. Also, it's funny that Queequeg, even though Queequeg staggered, we can't even attack Ahab because she's still protecting her somehow. But I guess it makes sense because, like, I'm pretty sure she got staggered by Eclipse of Scarlet Moths there, which means that she got staggered after the turn started, and because of that, you know, it already activated the protection effect. And it's not going to just turn it off because she got staggered, you know?
개체들의 체력이 많이 깎여 나갔어. 괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아? 이 기세로 계속 나아가 보자.
잘 보이는군. 내가 구해야 할 자가 누구인지.
달빛조차 살려면 올거든.
지금 구해줄 테.
훌륭하고. 자, 한수 배웠네. 악당 퇴치 성공. 오늘도 정말 멋진 활약이었어.
We head into Time Killing Time for the next floor, where we find Phantom Pain, the Charred Disc, Pain of Stifled Rage, Hardened Flower, the Charge-type Gloves, and Lunar Memory, before making it to the boss against the Time Ripper. Now, for this fight, I actually made a pretty big major mistake before this fight even began, to be honest. And that was the fact that after getting Lunar Memory, I accidentally fused back, what was it? Crushed Memory instead of Punctured Memory. So yeah, our Clash power is substantially weaker than it honestly should be because of that. Honestly, I don't even know how I missed that the fact that I fused the wrong ego gift. I mean, it makes sense how it happened, right? Because, like, I was fusing Crushed Memory before I fused Lunar Memory, and so it was already set to the blunt effect. And then I just fused it back afterwards and didn't realize it wasn't Punctured Memory for some reason, even though they look completely differently. But anyways, it doesn't really make this fight any harder, since, like, yeah, the Clear Mirror Calm Water substitutes the missed Clash power from the extra coin power that Puncture Memory would have got. Honestly though, this fight's not really hard, even without Lunar Memory or anything like that. I mean, we're literally missing like half of our Clash power right now, and it's still incredibly easy. The Time Ripper's just not very difficult, honestly. He can be. He can be if you let his bleed get out of control, but because we have, what is it, Greycoat? His bleed will never be able to get out of control unless it's like a max 99 stack or something, which almost never happens. We head into Spring Cultivation for the next floor, where we find the Emergency Investigator badge, Fragment of Inertia, and the Night Vision Goggles, before making it to the boss against Wei. So, this fight is an absolute nightmare to solo. If you don't know, Wei is literally, he's a solo killer. I mean, what does he have, right? He has like a near infinite amount of Rupture, a ridiculous amount of raw damage, and a concussion status effect, which not only multiplies the damage of both of those effects, but also, if it gets up to its max 3 stacks, it automatically staggers you. So yeah, needless to say, Wei is a nightmare. And he has 7 skill slots too, so it's like, you can't ever stop like half of the things he does. Obviously, it's like, I was planning on going to this fight no matter what, because I wanted to suffer, I guess. But that was the reason why we went into the Time Ripper last time, because to beat Wei, you kind of need a revive ego gift, to be completely honest, and I don't want to do Refraction Railway Line 3 because that floor sucks. And also, frankly, its ego gift is way too powerful and would make it, like, make this fight completely free. So we went into the Time Ripper to get the Investigator badge instead. And so in order to actually beat this fight, we have to use the Christmas Nightmare just to turn off our Wrath weakness that we have normally. And funnily enough, like, our low speed is actually a really, really good thing in this fight, because it allows us to have Wei attack us in between our 2 skills that are clashing against him, right? And because of that, it means we can heal from Greycoat with the first attack, then he does extra damage to bring us down to like half health, and then we use another attack to heal back up again with Greycoat. And without that, we just, simply put, would not have enough health to be able to survive. But fortunately, because of Lunar Memory, like, you that is kind of why you have to take this fight pretty late in the Mirror Dungeon if you ever want to even hope to beat it, is because the only way to actually beat Wei is to basically stagger him on turn 3. Because if you don't do that, you're just screwed, basically. But we do have enough damage to stagger him on turn 3, so as long as we survive to turn 3, yeah, we just win. Very difficult fight, but because of Gregor's unique speed, it's actually doable.
챙겨진 직원이 있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지.
We get into Murder on the Warp Express for the next floor, where we find Dust to Dust, the Torn Bandolier, the Decamillennial Stewpot, Grandeur, and Imposed Weight, before making it to the boss against Cassetti. I didn't show most of the failed attempts in that previous floor, but it did take me at least 10 tries to be able to beat Wei. And because of that, it's like I didn't want to really have much of a difficult floor for the final one, so I just wanted to beat the shit out of Cassetti instead, I guess. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it now, because it's on my mind. But they really should have given Cassetti Blood Feast. Well, I'll never live that down. I don't know why he doesn't have Blood Feast. But aside from that minor complaint, this fight's actually pretty fun because of how many Blood Fiends there are. Like, I do like playing Gregor more like this, where he just sort of effectively acts like Big Bird himself, right? Where you got a whole bunch of enemies, you dazzle one per turn, and then you just insta-kill that one enemy. It's quite fun. Lore accurate Big Bird Gregor. But yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to say about this fight, though. It's just a simple, easy cooldown fight after a nightmare that was Wei. Oh right, I completely forgot that I wanted to talk about that. Basically, something I wanted to talk about is the implications of Gregor having the lamp ego gear. And obviously being one of the 3 birds, right? you automatically start thinking about, like, which identities would get the Twilight Eco Gear of Apocalypse Bird? The fusion of the three birds. And in my personal opinion, I think it's also Gregor. I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, Gregor is a direct, like, comparison to the Apocalypse Bird. I mean, he's a guy who within him has the potentiality to transform into an absolute monster who will kill everything and everyone. That kind of sounds like Apocalypse Bird to me, you know what I mean? And the fact that he also has one of the bird's ego gears now is even more fitting for him to become Apocalypse Bird. Because obviously, one of the characters with the bird's ego gears would then also get Apocalypse Bird's ego gears, because the birds become Apocalypse Bird. So yeah, because Gregor is the Roach King, he's got the Beast of the Forest hidden within himself, just as the birds themselves also have the beast within themselves. It's pretty fitting for him to get Twilight, in my opinion. I guess you could also give it to whoever gets, you know, Judgment Bird's ego gear. But I don't know, I feel like Gregor's more fitting for Twilight than whoever else could possibly be.
회복감은 증폭. 앞을 밝히지. 것이 잘 보인다.
완벽한 한방. 시원한 걸.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지.
눈에 보이는 게 전부가 아니라든가 중요한 것은 눈에 보이지 않는다든가 뭐 그런 교훈을 의도한 건 아니야. 그냥 누구에게도 보이지 않을 나만의 한 방을 날려주고 싶었을 뿐이지.
And that's how I beat Mirror Dungeon 6 hard using only Lamp Gregor. Overall, pretty strong identity. A little hard to use because of his speed, but ultimately, it's fine. He is very strong, he is very good, and all around, probably one of my new favorite identities. Definitely my favorite Gregor identity, I'd say. Well, I don't know, it's kind of hard to beat Fire Fist Gregor's Skill 3 Scream, but yeah, it's pretty close. Anyway, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Goodbye.